Welcome back to Game Gentleman News, where we scour the gaming world to bring you the top stories each and every week. We're trying something a little bit different this week, with less stories, but diving in a little bit more detail. That's why your feedback is really important to us, and if you like this change in style, hit that like button so we keep going in the right direction. If you're new to the channel, hit the subscribe button to keep up to date with all of our content. So without further ado, these are the stories you need to know from May 4th to May 10th, 2020. Number 5. Activision Blizzard have announced their first quarter performance in an earnings call earlier this week. In a press release on their website, Activision CEO Bobby Kotick said, "Our goal to connect the world through epic entertainment is more important to our players than ever before. We delivered strong financial results for the first quarter and are raising our full-year outlook. I've been awestruck by the strength of our employees and their families during this difficult time. Whether managing healthcare or childcare, performing public service or community service, our teams around the world have shown ingenuity and resilience. In the face of so many difficulties, our employees have made certain that the joy, the engagement, and the benefits of gaming remain an effective way to help our 400 million players around the world connected and safe." The publisher reported Q1 net revenues of $1.78 billion, which was a decline of $37 million year on year, but represents an improvement of $148 million on the company's previous forecast. The company attributed the performance to the success of their initiatives in Call of Duty, as well as momentum and growth in key Blizzard titles such as World of Warcraft and Overwatch during the current pandemic, with their player base spending increasing time at home with lockdown and shelter-in-place orders across the world. Other key highlights include 102 million monthly active users for Activision, 32 million monthly active users for Blizzard, and 273 million monthly active users for mobile gaming division King in the quarter. Call of Duty Warzone reaching 60 million players worldwide since its March 10 launch. Modern Warfare Remastered selling more units than any other Call of Duty title to date, including the highest sell-through rate of a Call of Duty title outside of a launch quarter. Successful migration of the Overwatch League to online within the quarter, double-digit growth year-on-year for Candy Crush in the month of May, and advertising net bookings increasing 75% year-over-year. The publisher is forecasting Q2 revenues of $1.69 billion and full-year revenues in the area of $6.9 billion. Meanwhile, EA Games has reported net revenues of $5.5 billion, which is an improvement of 11.1% or $550 million over the 2019 fiscal year and a new record for the company. It should come as no surprise that digital sales and transactions make up the majority of this revenue at $4.3 billion, with strong performance from live services such as Apex Legends, The Sims 4, and EA Sports titles being credited for the performance. EA Games COO and CFO Blake Jorgensen states that the report proves the value of the live services path we've been on now for a decade, and that the company's expertise in these services is especially helpful in these turbulent times, as it gives the company the flexibility we need at times like this to meet player needs. Some notable milestones for the developer over the past year include 10 million unique players in single-player adventure Star Wars Jedi: The Fallen Order, 25 million unique players for FIFA 20, and solid quarter-on-quarter growth of monthly active players in The Sims 4. Looking forward, EA is forecasting $1.2 billion in revenue for fiscal Q1, with Command & Conquer Remastered and Burnout Paradise Remastered scheduled to release, and a flat $5.5 billion for the year, with its usual roster of sports titles such as FIFA, NHL and Madden, along with an unannounced EA Sports title, an unannounced EA HD title, 4 third-party partner titles, mobile, and VR titles all to come within the year, more of which will no doubt be announced in the EA Play event covered later in this video. Number 4. Last of Us Part 2 director Neil Druckmann has confirmed in an Instagram video message that the game has officially gone gold. In the series of videos within the post, Druckmann acknowledges the scope and ambition of the project, thanks his team, and recognises fans of the title. "On behalf of everyone at Naughty Dog, we want to say thank you to you guys. You've been very patient waiting for this game for years with us, and you're just a few weeks away from getting it." Again, Druckmann touches on the topic of the recent leaks. "No matter what you've seen, or heard, or read, nothing compares to playing this thing from beginning to end. It's a video game, you've got to play it." For those unfamiliar with the term, a game going gold usually refers to when development of the game is finalised and placed onto a master disc for reproduction and shipping. These discs were typically gold-coloured CDRs, which is where the term originally came from. These days, the term and practice has more of a symbolic meaning as games can be digitally distributed, and development, bug fixes, and final QA continues well beyond the milestone, often resulting in a day one patch. In additional Last of Us news, players were treated to a new story trailer this week. The nearly 2.5 minute trailer gives us a glimpse into the central conflict we can expect to see in the main storyline, along with some beats which seem to fill in the gaps between the end of the first game and adult Ellie as we have seen in trailers and gameplay so far. Neil Druckmann has written a blog post on the Naughty Dog website teasing that there may be more reveals to come in the lead up to launch. As we ramp up for this final stretch before The Last of Us Part 2 arrives in your hands, there's still more we're looking forward to sharing with you, beginning with the debut of our all-new story trailer that provides a brief look into the next chapter in Ellie and Joel's story. We hope that whatever reveals Naughty Dog has for us in the next month, they take a less is more approach. Number 3. Ubisoft have been busy in the past few weeks, and now it seems they may be reviving the Prince of Persia franchise beyond the VR title we covered in February. The publisher has registered the domain princeofpersia6.com this week, and while registering a domain is a quick and cheap process that doesn't necessarily mean Ubisoft is doing anything more than protecting their IP, we need to remember that Ubisoft only registered the domain for Assassin's Creed Valhalla last week, and ended the week with the official game announcement. Add to this the information in Ubisoft's third quarter earnings call, which outlined that they intended to release 5 AAA games this fiscal year, with Watch Dogs Legion, Gods and Monsters, Rainbow Six Quarantine, and Assassin's Creed Valhalla all being announced. Could this be our mystery 5th title? Ubisoft last visited the Prince of Persia IP in 2010, ending a 7-year run of multi-platform games including mainline titles such as The Sands of Time, The Warrior Within, The Two Thrones, and The Forgotten Sands, as well as spin-offs such as Battles of Prince of Persia Classic, and Prince of Persia The Fallen King. The original title was created by designer Jordan Mechner, who has continued involvement in the franchise to this day, including collaborating with Ubisoft on the recent games, writing the graphic novel in 2007, and co-writing the movie script. It's also been well reported that the original Assassin's Creed started early development as a sequel or spin-off to The Sands of Time, with the developer taking core elements of gameplay and applying it into an open world, made possible by the PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360 generation of console. The development team wanted to explore the idea of the prince not being someone who earned the throne by birthright, but by working for it, which led them into researching secret societies such as the Persian Hashashin. For more Assassin's Creed content, be sure to check out our video on what we consider to be our top 5 Assassin's Creed games. Number 2. EA have announced that their EA Play Live event will be taking place Thursday, June 11 at 4 PM Pacific Time. EA Play has been running since 2016, and similar to previous years, this year is planned to hold live broadcasts, community events, and world premieres of upcoming EA titles. Similarly, CD Projekt Red have announced Night City Wire, an event dedicated to Cyberpunk 2077, on the same day. Details are scarce at the moment as to what time the content will drop, but we're sure fans will be salivating at the prospect of more Cyberpunk news, gameplay, or story detail. These two events join an ever-growing list of digital showcases and coverage in June, filling the void left by E3, with the likes of Steam Game Festival, which was covered in a previous video, showcasing upcoming titles and providing limited access demos on the platform from June 9 to 14. Summer Game Festival running from May through to August, with Jeff Keighley curating breaking news, in-game events and playable content from publishers such as Bethesda, Blizzard Entertainment, CD Projekt Red, Electronic Arts, Microsoft, Riot, Sony and Square Enix, as well as hosting pre- and post-show events. IGN Summer of Gaming event launching early June, covering publisher announcements, remote interviews, hands-on demos and preview impressions, panel discussions, as well as breaking news announcements and community participation, with publishers such as 2K, Bandai Namco, CD Projekt Red, Deep Silver, Stadia, THQ Nordic, Square Enix and Xbox all being signed up for the event. GameSpot will be hosting a similar event of its own called Play for All, which will also launch early June and run for multiple weeks across not only GameSpot's core site, but also across other CBS Interactive properties such as Giant Bomb and Metacritic, as well as external talent from the likes of Kinda Funny's Greg Miller and NoClip's Danny O'Dwyer. Similar to IGN, the event will bring breaking news, developer interviews, gameplay and panel discussions, but will also focus on raising funds for COVID-19 relief efforts in partnership with Direct Relief, supporting frontline healthcare workers. We also have GDC's summer event and Gamescom in August, both of which had to move to digital formats in light of the recent pandemic. The bottom line is, there's no shortage of content or coverage for gamers across the world to enjoy, either on their publisher of choice or across streaming and on-demand platforms such as YouTube, Twitch or Mixer. Number 1. Microsoft have announced their plan to release a monthly program called Xbox 2020, starting this week and running through to the end of the year to communicate with fans updates and announcements on all things Xbox, no doubt with a heavy emphasis on the Series X. This week's Inside Xbox event video went for 47 minutes and covered in-engine footage of 13 upcoming titles from third-party studios, including world premieres of Bright Memory Infinite, Dirt 5, Call of the Sea, The Medium, Second Extinction, Madden 21, The Ascent, and Scarlet Nexus. Following the trailers, we saw brief interviews with Assassin's Creed Valhalla creative director Ashraf Ishmael, Dirt 5 development director Robert Karp, and The Medium game producer Jack Zeber. It should be noted that many fans were left disappointed with the event due to the way the event and trailers were labelled as gameplay trailers without showing any actual core gameplay. A fair criticism which Microsoft executive Aaron Greenberg took to Twitter to address. Had we not said anything and just shown May Inside Xbox show like we did last month, I suspect reactions might have been different. Clearly we set some wrong expectations and that's on us. We appreciate all the feedback and can assure you we will take it all in and learn as a team. While no mention was made of what they plan to show for June's event, Xbox have told fans that they can expect to see what their suite of first-party studios have been working on for the next generation in July, with first looks at new gameplay, insights from development team being optimised for Xbox Series X, and brand new game announcements. This means we could expect to see future titles from the likes of 343, Double Fine, Mojang, Ninja Theory, Playground Games, Obsidian, Rare, Turn 10, The Coalition, Undead Labs, and of course, Xbox Game Studios. While it will be interesting to see how Microsoft plans to keep content fresh and interesting over the coming months prior to the launch, and then after launch if they're going to run through to the end of the year, it certainly puts pressure on PlayStation, who have been much more cautious and timid in their approach to releasing news on the PlayStation 5, with only minor details being released to date. Although, with that said, PlayStation is rumoured to be hosting some kind of reveal event in May, but there have been no announcements to back this up. You can watch the full video by clicking on the link in the top right corner. And now you're all caught up. Are you intending to get one of the next generation consoles at launch? Which one of the Xbox reveals do you want to see more of? Tell us your thoughts in the comments below. Once again, if you like this new approach to our news videos, drop us a like or leave us your feedback in a comment. As always, don't forget to subscribe to stay up to date with our latest videos.